Well, there was another thing I wanted to touch on before I forget, which is the pole shift that John was talking about. There was an image I posted earlier, which I just right now reposted over here, and as you could see, it shows all of these various ancient monuments that seem to be aligned to this area, and the part where they recently discovered what looks a lot like the ancient descriptions of Atlantis, where you have these incredible circular molds, which I don't really know how nature would be able to create something like that, and it goes hand in hand with the descriptions that were passed on from Solon to man, my mind is not working correctly, but you know who I'm talking about, the famous
Ley lines?
no, well, ley lines, that's a part of it, but I'm talking about the Greek philosopher Plato. Yes, so Plato got this information from his grandfather, who said that Solon possessed the knowledge of Atlantis existing. And
that hurt. You just forgot Plato's name like that?
Yes, I forgot.
That
because
hurt.
I have too much things here. There's too many things going on. Yes.
Plato, bro. Dude, I take personal responsibility for inflicting brain damage on you.
No, it's okay, Jules.
Really, what's going on?
It's fine.
Who is that? What are you talking about?
And I want to ask everybody to subscribe while I have the floor. Please subscribe. You know how many people we have watching this thing? We have 45 people watching it, and there was 50 at a certain point. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. And, guys, please subscribe for those who have not subscribed yet. We are growing this thing. This is such an incredible honor to have the great Dennis McKenna here with us. And also, don't forget to go to patreon.com/LevinJules. And, Jules, what do they get if they become a patron?
Well, you get a print from Geo. You get one-on-one conversations with me and Lev, me primarily through Discord. I'll help you with your girl talk. I'll help you scheme. I'll help you consult. I try me. Let's see what we can cook up together. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, and Gio is an incredible printmaker. So I wanted to just quickly touch on the pole shift thing with John, since we have so many examples of these various ancient monuments being stationed around the same area. I'm curious what your take is on what exactly is going on here.
In terms of the monuments you're referring to, or just the pole shift in general?
Well, pole shift as well, but I'm interested why exactly a lot of these monuments seem to be situated around this particular axis.
You always ask the difficult questions, man. I have no idea, man. I've never studied this building.
Well, I think, I mean, John, with respect to the pole shifts, these are like disruptions in the Earth's magnetic field, right?
Yeah.
And we know that under experimental situations, like you can disrupt, you can use magnetism, this transcortical machine, I think they call it the God's machine, which can induce altered states by disrupting, you know, the magnetic state of the brain. So is it possible that some of these pole shifts might do that on a mass scale?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm proposing. And, you know, one of the interesting things that you mentioned in regards to Rajneesh's research regarding DMT's role in plant biology is I think J.C. Calloway had a paper in 2005 where he observed that DMT has a specific affinity for the UVB spectrum. That's right outside the visual spectrum of humans. And it seemed as though there was a circadian rhythm in plants in regards to DMT. And one thing that takes place during the pole shift right now is that there's a weakening of Earth's magnetic field. And with the weakening in Earth's magnetic field, interestingly enough, UVB rays actually increase in terms of penetrating, I guess, the Earth's surface. So if DMT in plants has a affinity for the UVB spectrum, you know, I'm proposing the fact that maybe it's similar in humans in terms of it has a greater affinity for the UVB spectrum. And if this is taking place because of the pole shift, because of the Earth's weakening magnetic field, maybe there is subtle upregulation of endogenous DMT and maybe endogenous 5-MeO and the MeOIs as well, alluding to, you know, our shifts in perception, the craziness going on right now in the world. And I'm sure there's going to be much more craziness going forward. Maybe we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg. You know what I'm saying?
Well, is it accepted that we're undergoing a pole shift now?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's news to me.
I can pull that up on physics.com.
Yeah.
And I wonder what happens
Yeah.
when we do undergo that pole shift. Will it be destructive like the cataclysm that occurred possibly 11,000 years ago, according to Graham Hancock, where, according to him, civilization had to reset and the survivors were the ones who founded a lot of these ancient civilizations with their monuments, and it's all a very interesting thing to me personally. I have it really close to my curiosity as far as what went on there, what are some of the things that we've forgotten about as far as certain inner technology. Like we were talking before about psychedelics, I wonder how much of that was also brought to the people who later on became the shamans in South America. I mean, a lot of the shamans also say that the plants told us, but when you consider how many different plants there are there, the idea that you would be able to combine very specific plants together, that's something that just boggles the mind.
Right, and actually, I think that's kind of a glib. That's, if you want my opinion on that, I think that's kind of a glib answer to how did you discover this combination? You know, and the shamans, just to shut people up, will say, well, isn't it obvious? The plants told us. You know, they told us, but they told us through experimentation with the plants. And actually in the ESPD 50 conference that I did in 2017, there was an anthropologist there, Manuel Torres, who presented very interesting theory on the origins of ayahuasca and how these combinations of plants came to be discovered. And I can put the link to the videos up there. It had to do actually with a certain geographic area where there was a lot of experimentation going on. There was mucking around with plants, as we were talking about before. There was a lot of experimentation going on with chicha, which is fermented beers made from roots and grains and that sort of thing. And it was almost like a craft beer brewing environment where people would toss all kinds of things into these beers, you know, and among the things that they would put into the beer, it was an area where ayahuasca was not the vine itself was used as a medicine, and also there was anadenanthera, which was used as a snuff. And it's very probable that accidentally or deliberately some preparations were made that combined these things, you know, that combine Banisteriopsis, which was actually used as a kind of a chewing stick for cleaning the teeth, and the seeds of Piptidania, or anadenanthera they're now called, were added into these brews. I'm going to find the link and show it to you. So I don't think it was just that the plants you know, that the plants told us. They gave us the opportunity to learn for ourselves, is, I guess, a better way to think of it.
There is another thing.
it.
There is one more thing. I would be very interested in considering it, but by no means would I state that this is exactly how it happened. When we had Graham Hancock over at the National Arts Club for his fourth time in a row, and Dennis, I would love for you to be a guest at the National Arts Club whenever you're able to come into the city. I think that would be amazing. And
I've already talked there about 2 times already, but
Really?
a long time ago.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I missed that. Probably at our committee, the Art and Tech Committee, but before I was there.
Yes, definitely before you were there.
Yes, and I would love to have you back. But what he was talking about was how there is DNA, there is genetics that are found in people in a certain part of South America, which goes together with the genetics of the Australian Aborigines, even though there's no sign of them crossing all the way from Australia by land. And a lot of their stories, if I'm remembering it correctly, what he said, involved there being people who transported them by boat to where they currently reside in South America. So when I think of that kind of technology that long ago, it also would occur to me that whoever transported them may have also known how to yield great crops in the soil, how to combine certain plants together in a very scientific way. And I remember somebody said, and this is me going very far in assumptions here, but I just am very fascinated by what was said online recently, this idea that the South American rainforest shouldn't really be there, and that it's actually a garden that was set up artificially. I don't know if I'm going to go that direction, but just throwing it out there.
No,
That was
I am a total fan of Graham Hancock's, and I think that all of his books on this are excellent books, but the latest one, America Before, really nails it down. I mean, and it's not woo-woo stuff. People say that it is, but it's actually very well documented. And that event that happened 12,000 years ago, 12,800 years ago, was actually a cometary impact over the North American ice sheet. And this is not disputed anymore. It's thoroughly documented that happened. If I don't know if you can see the chat box, the Zoom, but I put the link up to these videos from the ESPD 50 conference, and you can look at Manuel Torre's video about this origins of ayahuasca thing. And I think, I mean, you can look at all of them. They're all great.
You send us something else, though. You send us the Twitter link. I'm not sure if that's the correct link, but when
can you look at the group chat box in Zoom?
Yes,
right
I'm looking at it right there. It says twitter.com/levinjoule/status. So that may be a different.
Oh, sorry.
No problem at all.
That's the wrong one.
No, I would definitely love to share that link with everybody, though.
I must have been something else on the clipboard. Let me put it in there again.
Pretty soon we're just going to be able to think of certain things and paste them in that way. You know, just
here you go.
Link. Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
there we go.
This one, Vimeo.com showcase, etc. That's the link. And if you're curious about the origins of ayahuasca, how did they figure it out? I think this is worth looking at. I think it's the best idea I've seen so far. But Graham's idea that that actually it's a radical hypothesis that the Amazon was maybe the seat of the origin of civilization. I mean, that's a pretty wild idea. But then he cites evidence that's very hard to dismiss, which is what I like about his work. He makes these completely outrageous suppositions, but then he puts pretty solid legs under them. So, yeah, check it out and read America Before if you haven't already. Probably everybody here has. And yeah, I'm a believer. I mean, it's very hard to dismiss this evidence, particularly the genetic evidence, that some of these ancient archaeological sites and the people that were there, they have the genome, a good part of their genome in common with Australian Aborigines. So, wow.
Yes, it's incredibly fascinating.
There's a lot we don't know about the ancient past. I think it was much more complicated than people are willing to think.
Well, even in the structures,
much longer as well.
Yeah. Well, even in the structures that they set up, if we look at certain Sumerian reliefs, they have this often occurring pattern of the two birdmen or the two winged men having a cone facing this tree. And the tree itself resembles to me a lot the Kabbalistic tree of life, or Yggdrasil, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, the Nordic tree of life. And the idea that these are all blueprints, just like we would have, let's say, the Temple of Luxor as a blueprint of the human body with a separate area for the quote-unquote third eye, or whatever you want to call it. To me, it's very fascinating to think that people have been very interested in the structure of the human body as related to the cosmos, because I am a personal, let's say, I lean on the fact that we are a microscopic representation of the universe, and we are here to experience it, along with the beauty and bounty, as well as the tragedy of whatever it is we're going through in order to get us to a higher state of consciousness by having us be taught certain lessons along the way. So it's a very fascinating journey, and I'm so honored for you, Dennis, to be a part of it with the Joe Rogan connection as well. Because when you think of Graham Hancock, when you think of Dennis McKenna, when you think of all of these very influential people who the scientific establishment kind of ignored for a long while, because we have the internet now, we are able to get all these things out there. And I wonder what comes next as far as, does this transform society in a way too? Psychedelic research and just communities in general. Could we go back to, let's say, having smaller communities with the town elder who actually is enlightened and not hopped up on oxycodone as a lot of the elders are today? That's a thing that's really important to me personally.
But those kind of elders, are they more for like Hare Krishna, like kumbaya settings? Because maybe you need someone to teach you something, like John O'Neill at the FBI telling everybody, about the looming tower, and maybe he's on oxy. I think people are quick to dismiss a lot of people for poor reasons and forget that the source of your information never determines its truth value. But I completely agree with Lev that it would be better to have healthier role models, and ideally to have multiple role models.